dish with up to 3 toppings for $8.99. Any second pizza, $4.99. Hot and on their way to you.
Now that I'm teaching in the business, we're getting really close.
Even though my job takes me on the road a lot.
But that's no problem. I have them call me 1-800-COLLECT. It's inexpensive, so we can talk as often as we want.
Without screwing up the bottom line.
Yeah, calling with 1-800-COLLECT has really helped us get to know each other.
Yeah, we talk about business and sports and women.
By the way, how is Shelley?
That's Charlene, Dad.
Charlene.
1-800-COLLECT. They love to hear from you.
The NASCAR Ride-Along program puts you in the action.
What's going on? Kyle's breaking in some new material.
So, the Rhino says, forget it. I'll drive myself. Seriously, though, I used to be a grease monkey, but that was the bits. Just what I need. A backseat drummer, right? Come on, Clyde, try to keep up.
NASCAR on ESPN. Come along for the ride.
Thank you. You're beautiful. I'll be at the Laugh Shack till Wednesday.
The St. Louis-San Diego Series in Honolulu, Hawaii continues tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on ESPN from Aloha Stadium. The Paradise Series following baseball tonight. Today in Boston, the weather's already playing havoc on one of the games. The Orioles-Red Sox game has been canceled. Well, thanks for watching this edition of Sports Center. I'm Chris McKendry. The next Sports Center at 7 Eastern with Gary Miller. Now from New York, it's the 1997 NFL Draft on ESPN, and it will continue tonight on ESPN2. Chris Berman is your host. Enjoy the day. Keep watching ESPN for all the news from the NFL.
The following is an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Madison Square Garden, New York City, where Selection Day is seeing a flurry of trades at the top of the order. Orlando Pace is the player everyone covets in an NFL draft filled with incredible stories. Back in 1982, this man was burnt.
With a break, I think I can regroup and regenerate the enthusiasm and the energy that it takes to do it my way.
Now Dick Vermeil's fired up over the Rams and the #1 pick. The Raiders played the offseason vertical game. Boy George, Desmond, and up the draft chart. In the great Northwest, there's been a hostile takeover. First Brown, then Blades. Will the Seahawks look to corner the market? Bill Parcells has ruled New York and the football world before. Now, can he power the Jets back to the top? Iron Mike, he's back, down in Dubai.
I really want to stand up on the top one more time. I want to get to the Super Bowl and win it. I really do. And then I'm going to say, that's enough of that. Let's go hit an 8-iron.
Down in Tampa, the Bucks, they are a-changing. Will they get offensive with a pair of first-round picks? The draft's most dangerous dealer resides in Miami. Jimmy Johnson's armed and ready with a house full of picks. Unusual times in Big D with questions aplenty. Troy's taking no chances, personally looking for a few good men. The NFL's best men call Lambeau their home. Brett's got the ring, but that party's over. The Minister of Defense says there's time for another. For the 18th year, ESPN brings you wall-to-wall coverage. Draftniks everywhere. You're on the clock. It may as well be opening kickoff for the National Football League. Who says the season starts in September? It starts here at the theater for the 62nd annual NFL selection meeting, which we sometimes call the NFL Draft. Hi, everybody. Chris Berman, Joe Theismann, Mel Kiper, Tom Jackson, and Sterling Sharp in New York. We're everywhere, and why not? Because this year's NFL Draft, we have seen a flurry of activity already. And by the way, the gavel hasn't even started the proceedings. Activity at the top of the draft, and talked about activity at the top of the draft that we cannot remember, and we've been doing this here at ESPN for 18 years. And basically, we're everywhere. It's a travelogue if you pull up a cactus and sit down and join us. We are, of course, in New York here at the theater, and we're with the Jets. We're in Miami with Jimmy. We're at the Big Sombrero, where the Bucks have a pair of first-round picks. We're all over the Big Easy. We're at the Gateway to the West in St. Louis, at the Champions at Lambeau Field. We're down in Big D. Who knows what the Cowboys will do? Up in Seattle, where the Seahawks have been very busy. Our video conferencing debuts with 8 cities: Oakland, Buffalo, the Giants, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Carolina, Atlanta, and Jacksonville. Also, ESPN Radio is here noon to 6. Check your local listings if, heaven forbid, you gotta leave for a few minutes and get in your car. Also, ESPNnet SportsZone.com is draft day polls, highlights, analysis. ESPN News provides all-day updates. But here we are in New York. We're about set to kick this thing off. Well, 2 days ago, the New York Jets traded out of the top spot to the number 6 slot. Dick Vermeil hasn't drafted in 15 years. Moved all the way up with the St. Louis Rams to take what certainly looks like Orlando Pace, barring a late phone call from a team like Detroit. Orlando Pace, Mel Kiper, he seems to be an offensive tackle that's as good as we've ever seen. The only other #1 pick in the history of the draft since the common draft, now 31 years, offensive lineman that's gone one, Ron Yeri, 1968.
Tremendous football player, Chris. We look, Oakland traded up from 10-2 with the idea of getting Orlando Pace. It didn't work out that way. He's going to be with the St. Louis Rams, a left tackle helping out Tony Banks. Very coveted player, Orlando Pace. Tremendous football player. Dominated 38 straight starts at Ohio State. Never missed a game or practice due to injury. Pancakes defenders at the point. Tremendous agility, quickness, body control for a 335-pounder. You watch him just dominate in pass protection, dominate at the point of attack. Tremendously mobile for a big man. We'll see some plays in the footage here, which just shows remarkable footwork for a kid his size. We see him against Iowa here, 35, 40, 45 yards down the field. This is a tremendous example of what kind of athlete we're talking about here. How he sustains a block even against a little cornerback. We see how he compares to Baselli and Ogden. He's right up there in the same league. Certainly the best player in this draft, and certainly ideal for the St. Louis Rams, who desperately needed a left tackle.
Joe, the St. Louis Rams, they certainly weren't one of the better squads last year, hence Rich Brooks out, Dick Vermeil in, but they've got some talent, and they've got some coaches who have been there who can help a guy like Orlando Pace.
Chris, I think that's a very important thing. It's great to be a good young talent coming into the National Football League, but who's going to teach you? Well, in the case of Orlando Pace, he's got Jim Hannafin, who's worked with Lions in St. Louis and Washington. He's got Jackie Slater, one of the future Hall of Famers that played this game. He's got some great teachers. That ensures his future for 10 years of being one of the best in the business.
Well, it's all over but the shouting. Now, let's go to the podium and welcome in the commissioner of the National Football League, Paul Tagliabue.
Welcome to the National Football League's 62nd annual college draft. Through a trade with the New York Jets, the St. Louis Rams have the first pick in this draft.
So after 4 months of saying the New York Jets are on the clock, for the last 48 hours, we could actually say the St. Louis Rams are on the clock. If you're wondering, and we anticipate that it will be, of course, Orlando Pace, in the 62-year history of the draft. Linemen that have gone #1. Ron Yeri, 68, Minnesota. By the way, I can't believe he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Chuck Bednarik from Pennsylvania, picked by the Eagles in 49. He is in the Hall of Fame. And Kai Aldrich, 1939 Chicago Cardinals. I don't know. There are not many on that list. To pick a lineman right here, he ranks Orlando Pace ahead of your other elite 5 in this group of 6 who will, in whatever order we see, Mel, be the first 6 names we'll have today.
Well, these are the 6 players that are really definitely at the top of the draft board. These are the 6 that everybody tried to trade up to get. We had some premature trading with Oakland and Seattle. Oakland didn't get their man, Orlando Pace. St. Louis will. Sean Springs, a brilliant corner. Darrell Russell collapsed the pocket-type defensive tackle. Bulware, Baltimore considered trading. They may keep the pick. Westbrook won a par almost with Springs, very physical. And Walter Jones, in time, Walter Jones could be better than Orlando Pace, if you can believe that.
We're already extrapolating, and here's the first big word of the day, that, you know, that this is where Pace will go. Let's look at the St. Louis Rams a little closer. Second-year quarterback, right. Tony Banks, athletic, so moves around, but he gets sacked, what, 59 times, fumbles, most ever. He needs blocking.
He really does, Chris. And I think the important thing is that Tony Banks has got to feel comfortable with what's up front. I mean, look at last year's draft. St. Louis, they wind up taking Lawrence Phillips first. They wind up taking Eddie Kinnison second. And then